Is that better, Teresa? I'm not sure if I fixed the audio, but now I'm starting to see when I talk, it's moving. So I'm hoping that worked. Yay! Thank you, Teresa. So, what you guys all missed. I was just saying, hi, Teresa. I'm great, and it's great to see you guys when you can come on and be live with me, or even when you don't get to be live and you just comment after, I get a notification right away. As long as I'm not busy with the kids, I respond as quick as I can. So today I am going to go over how I use my Lowery at my computer desk. I also use it in a different spot. Don't generally stitch at my computer desk. If I do, it's with a hoop. But in order to show you how I use my Lowery, I also need to show you how I load up my Omanik frame. So I'm going to switch so that you guys have a small camera of me and you can see my lap, and that will show you what I'm doing on my desk in front of me. So I will make the switch now. There we go. Now you guys have my lap in front of me, and as you can see, I have a couple Lowery bars in front of me. These are 50-inch, which most of the fabric I sell comes in 17.5, 18 inches wide, and this is the right width to hold that fabric. So I got these as my first choice. I also have over here the clamp and a long frame adapter, and I have a few projects. So they say you need 3 inches of fabric in order to load your projects onto the frame. And the reason for that is you have this groove here that you're putting your fabric into. And it's great, like you can go ahead and put it in with any amount. But you also need to roll it a little bit to get that tension. Otherwise, these rods can spin a little bit. Sorry, I'll lower that. They can spin a little bit inside, so you might get some slipping. So that's why they suggest 3 inches. If you can't push it in with your fingers, I've got nice small fingers. You can use the end of these. The one lady that first did videos on Omanik, she used a credit card or a debit card, whatever you have available. So this is just your standard putting fabric in. If you don't have it pressed down enough, you'll get resistance when you're trying to put the bar in. I don't worry about this distance here right now. I load top and bottom first. And as you can see, it's really simple. Once you've done it a few times, it's just really nice and easy to do, in my opinion. Okay. So I just kind of pinch the fabric here. I don't know if you can see. I'm just kind of holding it down. And then if it seems to resist a bit, just push your fabric in more. I should have put music on so you guys could listen to music while I do this. Jeopardy, right? Da, 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 da. Alright, there we go, we have that one in. Now, I play around with my distance from the sides so that they're equal. So I just kind of pull it over, and now that rod slid, that's okay. I hold my fabric on this edge and I push the rod back in. And I make sure that top and bottom are sitting evenly distanced, evenly spaced from the edge. So I'm a little more this way, so slide them all that way a little bit. And there we go. Now we're ready to roll, right? So you can roll towards your fabric or away from your fabric. That is up to you. A lot of people suggest rolling towards your fabric so that when you flip your work, your fabric is sitting up. It's easier to run your threads underneath, and it keeps the back of your fabric on the outside so that when you are touching it with your hands, if you don't have a grime guard, you aren't getting your stitched or plain fabric dirty. So I'm gonna go to there, and then this one I go the other way. And I really don't worry about holding the fabric really tight, because I just like to make sure it's rolling nice and evenly. It tightens up when you tighten it, so I don't think I'll get, I won't get another roll. So the biggest thing is you have to be able to put your side pieces in. So you have to be able to open it up enough for that. You can get away with a little bit smaller opening, but you can't have very much, otherwise you can't open the other end when you have one in. So I'm going to put this side in first, and then you guys can watch me put in that side. Because usually your first one goes in really simple, you have no resistance, so it's the other end you might have difficulty with, if you're going to have any difficulties. So I got the other one in, and now I'm just doing this side. So like I said, you need that little bit more space so that you can pry those, and I start tightening. You can't see, there you go. And I try and do it as evenly as possible. And now I'm starting to get resistance. You can see the fabric is tightening up. So, me being picky in the way I am, I like to measure. But I bet you I don't have anything over here to measure with, because I'm being me today. So I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to say it's to there. Go like that. So they are pretty even. They would be like maybe a millimeter apart. So I'm going to say that's close enough. I'm going to say one more tighten, I think. And what I do is I tighten here. I go a quarter of a turn at a time. There we go. It's tight, you guys. Just like that. Loaded on. And like I said, I don't flip my work much, so I'll just show you. When you do flip your work, when it's loaded this way, where your back is on the outsides and your middle has your pretty fabric. When you flip it over now, everything's on top. So when you go to run your thread under, you have good access points, right? You're not trying to go into a valley. So that is where that is loaded. Sorry, Fitbit's telling me I'm not active enough today. So that's just with your fabric. And I've had a few people ask, well, what if I don't have enough fabric? Because with with Omanik, they want you to have 3 inches top and bottom. And as you see, it takes a bit of fabric to get that first roll, which helps to tighten your fabric. So what happens if you don't have enough fabric? I have a solution. I will show you. And just like that, we take it off. That is one thing I love. A lot of people, well, actually personally, I don't like scroll frames, the standard scroll frames, because the ones I always had, you sew your fabric on. Well, it's not as simple as this is to sew your fabric on every time you change a project. Like me, I change projects a lot. So, for me, this makes more sense. And just like that, that project is off. So let's go to something that doesn't have 3-inch margin. So this is, oh, sorry, I didn't even tell you what that was. I don't have a set of the tension bars, but the tension bars are like this, except on the one side you have a piece of metal that comes out, well, 2 screw pieces with threads to accept the bolts. Now you can buy tensioner bars, like the side tensioner bars, and you can decide you don't want to use them, so you can just keep that piece off to the side and use them like you would this. Then if you decide you need that tension on the sides because you just want it for that project, then you can put them in. The other big thing about it is when you do use them, you need to have about an inch on each side of space from your fabric to the sidebar. So in that case, if you're using 50 centimeter bars, you want an inch each, an inch in on each side at least. Like an inch and a half would be better. So what would that work out to? I think these are 18. So say if they're 18 for sake of conversation for your fabric inside the frame, then you would not want to use a piece of fabric any bigger than 15 inches if you're using the side stretchers. And sorry, this piece is Let's Love. Oh boy, I can't remember. So this is for my grandparents. I've been working on it for a couple years. It's a really pale fabric. So, here you go. It's a tree with a bunch of words. It's a Ursula Michaels pattern. And it was supposed to be done over 2 years ago. Actually, my son would have been 1 when we went to the anniversary reunion. So, a year, almost 2 years ago. It should have been done by, I started it like 3 years ago. Alright, this one, I have just a tiny squeeze that onto a frame, but it's not proper. The tension is not good. So I sewed on a little Walmart felt. I picked it up at Walmart, and it's or not felt, flannel. Sorry, just cheap. So I cut a chunk. I didn't even measure it. I just cut it, sewed it. So now I will load it onto my bars with that. And I haven't even tried it yet. Hopefully it's not too thick. I first read you're freezing and I went, no, actually I'm not that cold. Right, she's talking about the video lag. I love that you're back now, Teresa. Sorry that the video was freezing. Let's see what I'm doing here. Okay, I got myself all loaded up. Make sure I'm kind of center. With this one, it's the flannel is wider than the fabric, but that's okay. We're just going to kind of center whatever's on there. And then we just start rolling. And I'm not giving it much tension this way. I'm just kind of holding it so it doesn't get, any ripples or anything. This part you can tuck in the fabric either way. I don't think it'll make much difference. I've seen some people will put flannel in with their beaded projects to help keep any beading stuff from crushing, or they do it just over their stitches. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't ask. Maybe I should have before I commented. Yes, a lot of people are on the internet now, and a lot of people are doing virtual stitching. I know not all of us are stitchers on the internet, but a lot of people are opting to do virtual stitching because they can't get together. And honestly, it's really nice to do virtual stitching and have that option. Sorry. Maybe I should have gave a little more tension with this one. I'm going to roll it so that the fabric just goes the same way I'm rolling. So a little more tension. Alright. That will be too tight. I won't be able to fit my bars in there, so I will undo a full one. And now we'll try the bars. I've never gone this wide apart, so we'll see how it works. To start with, anyways. There we go. Nice and tight. Like I said, I just sewed on fabric. And it's just flannel. I guess you guys can't see that well. There you go. So there's that option. And I wanted to do that, but I also wanted to not have to worry about if I was positioning the fabric square, like whether it was sitting square on the Q-snap. So I took it one step further with my other piece, and I will show you that. This Works good. It helps when you don't have much margin. This next piece, I do not have any margin, really. I'll show you, and you'll be like, wow. I got the pattern from, oh, and this is a stitch in time, if I didn't say that before. I got this next pattern from Carolyn of Off the Grid Needle Arts. She did a draw in a group, told her I had never tried ink circles, and the fact that it was Canadian and I'm Canadian. I was like, oh, that would be such a great pattern, and luck of the draw, I won. So I wanted to start it right away, so I started it July 1st for Canada Day. And even though I own a store, I only have so much personal fabric. I don't just buy everything that the store has. So I was going through my stash and going, okay, what can I use? What will be big enough? What will look good? So I will show you the pattern in a second here. And I will show you what I started it on. I've only got a little bit of a start. It's actually more than that, but that took more time. So, ink circles, reflections of Canada. And I won that from Carolyn of Off the Grid Needle Arts. So, if you can see here where my stitching is and where the edge of the fabric is, there's not much margin, maybe half an inch. But it's wide enough. It's wide enough. So that's my stitching so far. And so I sewed on a piece of felt. And my other thought was, so I don't have to worry about whether it's sitting in the frame proper, I looped my fabric and sewed a loop, right? So this is a pocket that I can slide the tubes into, or the rods into. So I just slide my rod over, and then I put my frame on. Haven't done it yet. I just had the idea. So that's how easy it is. Look at that, you guys. Just takes a little bit of coordinating. Sorry, I'm not in either camera. Here we go. So I'm just sliding it on, and my rod's just going in perfectly. And like I said, I don't worry about where I am in the frame to begin with. I'll straighten that out after I get my rods in. So put the other rod in and start sliding it on. And I had talked to a couple customers about trying this, seeing if it would work for them so that they don't have to worry about all the making sure it's all lined up and all that stuff. And then I was watching a video, and I feel bad. I honestly don't know who did the video. But I want to say she might be, yes, she might be Australian or something. She is very popular though. Like, I've seen her mentioned quite a few times. So I should source out who it was that I was watching, but I had told a couple customers about this, and then I had seen a video with her doing it. I'm like, hey, it does work. I do have to do it. I do need to try it. So yes, that was super easy, right? And I don't have to worry about how it's sitting in there because it's looped. It's gonna sit properly. So now I just make sure I position it in the center. I mean, I was going to say you don't have to, but it's definitely advisable to position it in the center of the frame so you're getting good tension on either side and you're not you're not pulling on like one side of the frame, you're pulling in the center. The other thing is, this is about the distance that I'd start going, you might need a smaller frame if you see that. Because I've got, I don't know, 3-4 inches on each side. So when you tighten that up, it's going to be pulling in the center here and nothing on the side. So you might be bowing these rods if you leave it tightened, or if you're tightening it up a lot like that. So just a suggestion, if you have that much space, you might want to look into a smaller set, like maybe the net size down. And then if you need your side stretchers, you have room for them still. So I'm kind of picky. I am kind of like, I need to get it as centered as I can. It's just me. So I just slide it over, push my rods back in, check my distance again. There we go. That's a lot better. Sorry. So we start rolling. I used to use Q-snaps. They weren't Q-snaps. They were loop and threads from Michaels. They were the knockoff brand. But honestly, to me, they were the same thing. And I mean, they worked great. Tension was good. If it did loosen, I took some of my felt and put it in. But I like the Omanik frames. They have been great. As you can see, I don't have much room here, so I am going to leave it like that and put in my rods. Actually, I'm going to bring up the bottom a couple more. I don't like being too wide this way because it's really hard for me to stretch up and stitch way up there. I can't see properly. Whoa, that eats up a lot of fabric. Okay, go back. That's the thing. Trial and error for everybody. Alright. And there we go. We're ready to tighten again. I'm not sure what I have in stock, Teresa, but I will PM you after the video. And yeah, if your fabric's 18 inches, you're gonna need either the 60 or the 70. I think I have 60. I'm not sure about 70. I have more on the way soon. Look at how much it's pulling there. It's a good thing it's sewn with the machine there. And look at that. So tight. Let's check my distance here. Right there. I can go a couple more on this side. And like I said, I go about a quarter of a turn at a time. I do usually use a tape measure to do this. So, let's see. One more. There we go. And it's ready to go. And just stitch away. So, that's Omanik. Let's look at Lowery. So with Lowery, you have your base. I'm just going to take this other camera and I'm going to show you the base I have set up. Give me 1 second. So I'll just cover it so you don't get a bunch of like wonky looking. So this is how the base is set up. I just have it in underneath my desk foot. When I'm not at my computer desk, I normally have it under a bookcase. It doesn't, with the way my recliner is, the foot of my recliner doesn't reach the base plate. And a lot of people are like, well, how is that possible? I don't know, it just is. So I put it under a bookcase or desk, or if you have a heavy enough end table, you can use that. You don't have to put the whole base plate under, just a little bit. I don't know, you can't see very well down there. I'll grab a light so you can see. I have it under a couple inches. There you go. Just enough that it's going to hold it, and it won't go anywhere. I'll show you. It's sturdy. It's not even going to spin without like a really good tug on it. So I'm not worried about any weight of any project. Hi, Terry. So I will go like that again so you guys don't get all like upset stomach or something. I would feel bad. Hi, kitty. There we go. Okay, Mr. Matt. So that's where I have it sitting right now, which is just kind of right beside me. Now you have your standard bar that comes with your Lowery frame. So it's about that wide. And then the other end is like this. I think maybe that's really close to the lap. I was thinking maybe you could use the short end if you really needed to, but that would be way too close to my lap. I wouldn't be able to stitch. And then the other side, which is size, which is the one I recommend the most, because if you have a recliner or if you need to sit away. Oh, thank you, Terry. It's all washed and curled, and this one is the one I use the most. It's about twice the distance. You can see there, it ends there. So it's about twice the distance, and it brings it out over you more, right? And then your arm goes on top. Apparently my son was playing with it. So it goes on like that. Because actually I will use this one. Yeah. Sorry. So that's a good height for me. I like a couple inches. Sorry. And then we have this, and because we're on the opposite side, I will switch it around. So what I have on my clamp is the long frame adapter. It is my favorite. You can use it with Omanik frames, you can use it with Q-snaps. Not advisable for hoops. Hoops I would just put directly in. You can also use the corner clamp. They're harder to come by. They take a little more to get. Just not as easily made or not as frequently in stock. This you can use with any size. It goes right down to like probably 6.5 in here. And this one's the 14-inch, so it's the shorter one. And you just slide it onto the clamp. And there you go. Then you take your Q-snap or your Omanik frame and you put it in on the bottom one. And then you put the top one on and you tighten. So for me, because I'm stitching over here, I'm not worried about whether this is on the fabric or not. So I'm just going to slide it over more. There we go. And I think of it like a typewriter. I can put this wherever I want to, providing, desks aren't in the way or something. You can slide it way over to here. You can slide it over to there. Over here, you're not going to have much room to work because you have all this behind you. But if you switch sides, now you can put it on this side and have all this open. I like to go as close to the middle as I can without it being in my way. So then you just tighten the ring on the back. And then this one you just tighten. Okay, Terry, yeah, this is the long frame adapter. And I will close this up real quick because my husband just got home. So yeah, you set it up like that and then you can stitch away. And then with this, you loosen it and you flip over, you tie your threads, and you flip back over and you tighten again. So that is how all that works. Alright, ladies, have a great day.